What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You guys already know what it is. It's draft season all year long, and today we have a Minnesota Vikings mock draft here for you guys. Now, if you guys haven't noticed a common theme with my previous video, the Chargers video, and this video, I am making mock drafts for the teams that are getting eliminated in the playoffs. And as a Vikings fan, look, it was a really exciting season, but you get hurt so much by this team, you don't feel pain anymore. So we're moving on to the 2023 NFL season. If you are a Vikings fan, consider sharing this video. The more views it gets, the more likely I am to make a Vikings mock draft in the near future. And consider subscribing if you are interested in anything related to the NFL draft. So now the draft position is looking slightly better compared to it was in recent weeks, just because of how good this team's record was, sitting here now with the number 23 overall pick. Now, this team doesn't have a second round pick because it was traded away to Detroit for TJ Hawkinson, which I feel like was a very good trade for the Minnesota Vikings in terms of value. But I am still looking to trade back in this draft because I still think that there is a way for us to accumulate more picks and not miss out on the value that certain players possess. So I do understand that a lot of Vikings fans are frustrated with the way that Spielman has worked with the draft in the past, where he moves back for just a ton of late picks. And same with Kwesi in this last year's draft. I was very disappointed with how far back we moved back, considering it was with a division opponent as well. But I'm not really going to do that. I mean, if I'm going to trade back, it's going to be for some high value picks, not some any late trash. So again, look, this is exactly what I'm talking about here, right? We're sitting here at pick 23. Do I want to drop back 15 picks, which is the closest next to us, right? Because after that, it's the Jets at 44, Chargers at 52, and Bears at 53. None of that is worth it. So we are going to just stick and pick. And, you know, this is a 3-round mock draft, so we do only have 2 picks at the moment. So it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So Brian Branch is an interesting one, but I feel like there's so many good players at safety for the Vikings that although this is the best player available, like I said, too much depth, he wouldn't play at all. Jared Verse is returning back to Florida State, so we're going to refrain from taking him. Let's take a look. See, I think Isaiah Foskey is a very intriguing option here for us because you do have Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith, but Zadarius Smith, I think, was very underwhelming, and DJ Wanham is going to leave very soon. I can't imagine they're going to bring him back. He's going to probably start somewhere and get some good money in free agency. So after that, it's Patrick Jones and everyone else, and I wouldn't mind having another edge rusher to be in the rotation. I mean, Zadarius Smith just completely fell off in the second half of the season, was dealing with an injury, so I don't know how much longer we're going to have him there, considering just how, not productive he's been. Trenton Simpson's an interesting one. I don't know how they're going to deal with Eric Kendricks and Jordan Hicks. Brian Asamoah has looked very promising for this football team, but he just hasn't seen the light of day. So, again, so much depth at the position at the current moment of recording that I don't feel safe taking a linebacker here just because I don't know how much of a role he'll play. And if Brian Asamoah is any indicator of that, it's not very much. Let's see, what else? See, Clark Phillips is a guy that I have, made a connection with here for the Vikings here in this draft because they could use another cornerback, and this is a guy who's very versatile, who can play both on the inside and the outside. I wouldn't mind Clark Phillips here. So I am really debating between Clark Phillips and Isaiah Foskey here. I like both of these players a lot, and it just comes down to, who's going to be more impactful, And I think I'm going to have to make the argument here that it is going to be Clark Phillips because Clark Phillips, I think, despite having so many young players on this team, right? You have Cam Dantzler, you have a Caleb Evans, you have Andrew Booth, who was taken high in the draft last season. You also have Duke Shelley, right? So many cornerbacks in the rotation where you don't really have that guy in the slot. Shannon Sullivan should not be coming back, especially the way that he's played this season. So I am going to take Clark Phillips here. I think Foskey is a pick that I definitely wouldn't mind because he will get himself into the rotation, will be productive. But I think Clark Phillips, just the versatility that he brings and the high level that he plays at both of those positions, I would not want to pass up on. This guy is he's a baller. He's a baller. He's a big-time playmaker and has a tendency to find the football. So we are already here in the 3rd round. Look, guys, we have Clark Phillips here in the 1st round, and then we have TJ Hawkinson in the 2nd round. I think that's a pretty solid 2nd-round pick, in my opinion. So even though we didn't get to trade back, right, we got good value. with this player. Even though he wasn't high on PFF's big board, I still think that he's a great player nonetheless. So, all right, we have no trade offers here, and we are going to stick and pick here at number 86. So, what do we want to go ahead and do here? Running back is an interesting conversation for Vikings fans because does Dalvin Cook come back? Does he not? I have no idea at this point. Now, a lot's going to change with this team from the time that I'm recording. I'm recording this actually right after the Vikings lost to the Giants in the playoff game. Interesting. We could try and beef up that interior of the defensive line. I don't know if Dalvin Tomlinson is coming back, even though I would love to have him back as a Minnesota Viking. He was probably one of the better defensive players on the team this year. Very interesting. Okay, look, this is a guy that I really like to take. If you've watched, a handful of my team mock draft videos, you know that I like Zay Flowers. I think that this is just tremendous value. Now, I don't know if NFL teams and scouts agree with how PFF has this big board and where Zay Flowers is placed, but in my opinion, there's no reason why he should be here in the third round. And heck, even in the middle to late second round, he shouldn't be there. Zay Flowers is an absolute beast. And look, I love Adam Thielen. Look, he's currently on my wall right now. And I love KJ Osborne, but I don't think KJ Osborne is going to be anything more than that third option at wide receiver where he currently is now. No disrespect to him, but I just think that that's the role that he should be playing. Zay Flowers, I think, would instantly take the number 2 wide receiver spot. And similar to Adam Thielen, where he can play both on the outside and the inside, but he's younger, he's faster, he's a great route runner, he's a deep threat. His acceleration is just off the charts. The fact that PFF even has him here is just ridiculous to me, but this is one of my favorite players in the draft just because of how much he's being slept on here on this board. So what I'm going to do here is take Zay Flowers. Look, I really think we need another playmaker alongside Justin Jefferson. I've mentioned this in previous videos as well with other teams where it's like, okay, they have a good tight end, but aside from that tight end, you also need another good wide receiver to complement the guy you already have. So Justin Jefferson is great and TJ Hawkinson is great, but you need a second outside target to rely on, and that's exactly what we're going to do by grabbing Zay Flowers here in the third round. So look, the grades, they can say what they want. It's just because we took these guys a lot higher than they feel like we should have, just because that's just how their big board rankings work. But I think Clark Phillips is definitely a guy that I would feel comfortable taking here in the middle to late first round just because of the versatility along with the production that he brings. He is a shorter corner, but we've seen that like guys can work with that. I mean, you have like guys like Duke Shelley, who's just been a pleasant surprise, and the Bears moved him to slot because he's shorter, but he's shown that his size has not mattered, even playing on the outside for the Vikings week in and week out, has been one of the more consistent defensive players on our team. So I'm not going to worry about that. I think Clark Phillips, even in his time at Utah, has shown that he can also be a productive player despite the height disadvantage that he might be in at certain times. But I think he would primarily be playing slot for us, which has been a weakness of this football team for the past few years. And then Zay Flowers, like I said, is just that second option at wide receiver that this team desperately needs. Adam Thielen's getting old. He's getting paid way too much. It hurts me to say this, but I don't know if he's going to be on the team come week 1 of the 2023 season. So it's important for us to get another weapon to pair up with Justin Jefferson, to give Kirk another option. I like Zay Flowers here in round 3. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Sorry that we only had 2 picks, but it's nice to have TJ Hawkinson. Again, if you guys like anything related to the NFL draft, this is definitely going to be the channel for you. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. And until then, I'll see you guys all later.